Color me surprised when I actually walked out of this movie grinning like a little kid because they actually did the fans justice by removing everything that was cringe about the first film and applying the things that made the 95 movie awesome. Sorry for taking so long with this review. I honestly had no real intention of watching it. I mean, the first one was such dog shit. Why would anyone want to waste the time? But then all the reviews came out and everyone has been saying that it's a huge improvement and well worth our time. So I relented and watched it. And boy, was it a feast for the fans of the video games, especially the newer games. We followed Johnny Cage, portrayed by the one and only Karl Urban, who is absolutely 110% miscast here, who is an old and forgotten action star from the 90s. Having seemingly given up on his life and career, he is thrusted into the Mortal Kombat tournament to defend Earthrealm for its last chance against Outworld. The great Shao Kahn threatens to conquer our world, and like all great villains, they're not gonna play fair. Will Johnny Cage embrace his responsibility as a champion of Earthrealm? Will Raiden and his champions win this tournament? I guess that's for you to find out. Let's just get the elephant out of the room first. Karl Urban as Johnny Cage? Nuh-uh. I spent this entire movie trying to be convinced of him being the Johnny Cage. You know, Jean-Claude Van Damme, a Hollywood martial arts legend. And they got some Kiwi who can't even throw a kick. Y'all got me fucked up. How is anyone supposed to believe that Karl Urban is Jean-Claude Van Damme? I'm not saying he has to look like Van Damme. I'm saying he's gotta have the martial arts chops. And he don't got it. How do I know? Because every single action set piece with Johnny Cage in this movie was very obviously a stunt double. And the editing, VFX, and cinematography had to work around it. Karl Urban is a fucking legend of his own. He can act. He just doesn't work as Johnny. Who the fuck asked for this? And yeah, the obvious reasons for his casting is because he's a big name. In fact, he's the biggest name out of this entire cast. And it's clear that his only purpose for this movie was to get audiences to buy tickets, which ain't looking so good. Not to say that Hiroyuki Sanada or Chin Hen aren't also big names, but in the American West, how many people do you know these guys? Only us Asians. You know who would have made a great Johnny Cage? Scott Adkins. Joe Taslim and Lewis Tan both vouched for him. And yeah, Scott Adkins doesn't have the best acting chops, at least from what we've seen, but the man can kick ass. He's been in almost every single action film you've ever seen, so let's give the man some credit. The marketing for this movie was pretty genius though, because the truth is, he isn't actually the main character. Katana is, and we all know how Americans are obsessed with Asian women. And I don't blame y'all. Adeline Rudolph, if that's how you pronounce her name, the actress for Katana, does a fantastic job. She's got the moves, and as a fan of the games, consider me happy. No one's going into this movie expecting some well-written A24 levels of storytelling, but we do want some semblance of a coherent story. It doesn't have to be deep, there just needs to be enough for audiences to latch onto our characters and their motivations. Which there is. It seems like the new writer Jeremy Slater saw all the criticisms for the previous film and removed almost everything that we hated about it, thus making this movie actually feel like a Mortal Kombat story. Does anybody remember the whole Arcana thing the previous writers came up with to explain where everyone's power came from? Yeah, that's completely gone, thank fuck. Those guys clearly never looked into the source material, seen any of the previous adaptations, and thought they could do better. But why does it also feel like the new writer has never played the games or done any lore research? Who am I kidding? Do I actually expect this guy to do any real research and write a good movie? Look, I know I seem like a dickhead, which I am. but I do think the world of Mortal Kombat could be more awesome with better and consistent writing. It's not an excuse to not try just because the games never had much of a coherent storyline to begin with. It's not that complicated, and if anything, the movies have more of an obligation and opportunity to tell a compelling story since they have the creative freedom to pursue whatever path they want with the established lore. Make a good movie for the fans and they'll come out to support, and this positive reception will seep out to non-fans of the games. Why are producers and writers so concerned about making a product for the masses, for non-fans, when the IP they're working with already has a gigantic fan base? I understand there's a bit more nuance to that. Not every gamer wants to go out and watch something in theaters, but this excuse doesn't really hold up when you have movies like Super Mario and Sonic breaking the box office, or successful TV shows like Fallout, The Last of Us, and Arcane. Why can't the writers and producers of Mortal Kombat simply take pieces of video game storylines, specifically MK9, and turn it into something awesome? Stop trying to explain everything. If you need an audience character, that's why Johnny Cage exists and freaking rocks in the MK1 game. Well, the story for that one started off pretty cool, and then it just went off into the deep end and got extremely dumb, but you get my point. So the writing and overall story is a huge improvement from the first film. That doesn't mean it's great, though. I mean, it definitely still sucks in certain areas, and some of the dialogue was just ugh. But when it works, it fucking works. I don't need S-tier dialogue or top-notch performances. I want cheesy one-liners that keep the fun tone of this franchise with awesome action set pieces. And that's what we got. For the most part. Not every single fight scene had me whooping in my seat. Some of them were just kinda alright, and that's okay because they were still fun to watch. Everyone has been talking about the Liu Kang versus Kung Lao fight scene, and well, they weren't fucking kidding. That was the best fight scene out of the entire fucking movie, and it happened about halfway through, which kind of confuses me because you'd think they'd make the final fight the best fight, but the writer and director know better. I audibly shouted in my theater while watching this scene. Oh my god, that's how awesome it was. I can't wait to rewatch it, man. Just that scene, not the entire movie. A lot of people are also commenting on the katana fight sequences, and while I did enjoy them, they don't even compare. I'm pretty sure the people hardcore defending her scenes like they're the best are simps. And I get it, she's hot. You're seeing a hot Asian chick kick ass and you want to praise her. That's fine. But let's not pretend like she's on the same level as Ludi Lin's Liu Kang and Max Huang's Kung Lao, both of whom have a martial arts background. And in case you don't already know, Liu Kang is inspired by Bruce Lee. And I don't think I need to go any further than that. Interestingly enough, I found myself really liking Ludi Lin because of his resemblance to Jason Scott Lee, who portrayed Bruce Lee in the 90s biopic. Holy shit, what happened to— They don't really give Liu Kang much to do. He kind of just struts around and awkwardly delivers lines like he's about to offer some weird philosophy about water or something. And he's always just posing with fire because the director and writer have no clue what to do with him. I get it. It looks cool for maybe like 2 minutes, and then I would much prefer seeing the greatest fighter of Earthrealm prove that he's the best. I know in my rant earlier I spoke about the creative freedom to pursue any path with the established lore, and that still applies. Liu Kang will always be the chosen one. He will always be the love interest to the baddie Katana. Johnny Cage will always be the washed up egotistical action star. Scorpion and Sub-Zero are Scorpion and Sub-Zero. These are just fundamentals that you never change. Something the creators of Mortal Kombat understand very well, and in case you didn't notice, That's Ed Boon, the co-creator of the franchise. But that doesn't mean you can't change who the main character is. The video games have changed main characters, and that actually brought a lot of needed spice to the world. I don't mind Kitana being the main character of this new MK live action story. I just need this depiction to be good and consistent. I think the biggest thing that annoys me are these completely unnecessary changes, one of which completely breaks the whole premise. Instead of Raiden choosing his champions, it's the Elder Gods. And instead of all the champions gathering in a single place for the tournament, the Elder Gods teleport them to random locations. This not only strays away from the established lore of the video games, but also creates problems in the adaptation on its own. The Elder Gods are not supposed to involve themselves with this tournament other than to uphold the rules, and yet they're choosing champions for Earth Realm. What? With all that being said, the production overall was fine. I wish the Outworld set was bigger and better, but it was feasible. I wish Shang Tsung and Quan Chi had more involvement with the plot because it only makes sense for their character. Shao Kahn, portrayed by Martin Ford, is fucking awesome. He is Shao Kahn. He looked like he was ripped straight from the video games. My god, he's got the eyes, the size, the menace, the hammer. They goddamn cooked with him. Honestly, this movie just locked in a little more. With a better writer and director, we'd have something great. But for now, this is what we got, and I had a good time despite its many flaws. I want a third movie to happen, okay? Because it does set up a few things I'm excited to see explored. Hopefully by then, Tadanobu Asano's English improves so that I can understand him easier. Don't get me wrong, I love him as Raiden, but let's not kid ourselves. It was pretty tough at moments to know what the hell he was saying. This movie gets a fatality out of fatality. Definitely give this movie a chance. Like I said, it's a huge improvement and a lot of fun, especially with Josh Lawson's return as Kano. Alright, that's enough of me. I'll catch you guys next time.